Hey guys, it's Adam here from adaminsights.com, and today we're finding out what is inside a roll of film. So this is actually a roll of Fuji Velvia. It's an awesome film. Film, for those of you who don't know, was what we took pictures on in cameras before digital existed, and there's still loads of people out there, me included, who believe that film takes a much better shot than digital ever can. We might be thinking that, hey, film canisters, it's just loads and loads of film all wrapped up in there, but yes and no. I mean, there's a few kind of micro mechanics in film which really do fascinate me. First of all, when the film comes out of the canister, it goes through a little light trap with a felt covering around here. And that stops, obviously, any unwanted light getting in and damaging your film when you're taking it in and out of the camera. When you'd completely shot all of your photos on film, this tab was completely within the film, so you'd know that it wasn't to be used again. And check out my video on using a film picker about how to extract this tab. So let's have a bit more of a look around what's on the roll. This here is actually a really cool piece of technology. It was invented around the 80s, the 90s, specifically for compatible cameras to understand what the speed and what the speed of the film was that was going into them with a little infrared or barcode-like reader tool. So you didn't actually have to manually tell your camera that you were putting in this case, it would have been a 50 ISO roll of film. So there's a lot of cool little technologies out there with rolls of film anyway. So let's crack this open. I've already just dislodged the base plate of the film. This is actually Fuji Velvia. It is a really hard film to shoot with, but when you get the results right, they look phenomenal. There's loads of people out there who can take better shots than me with Fuji Velvia. But let's have a look at what we got. So I'm just going to crack the base plate off. Okay. So initially it looks like we've got a little spool. That spool can be wound with only in one direction, with that little knob on the top which engages with the mechanics in your camera. It's quite an interesting thing. Some cameras would take pictures progressively pulling the film out of the canister. That is traditionally the way a lot of film cameras worked. But then there was some of, I think it was Canon, came up with the really clever idea. Well, hey, if something goes wrong and the back of your camera comes off, you don't want to, in theory, lose images that you've already taken, even if you're only, say, halfway through a roll of film. So Canon, I believe, invented a system where when you first put the film into the camera, be it a professional or a consumer camera, it pulled all of the film out of the canister onto another spool in the camera. And as you took pictures, it progressively put the film back into the canister. So then, if something went wrong, like if you accidentally opened up the camera when you shouldn't have, none of the images that you'd already taken that were actually back inside the roll of film would be at risk. That was actually a really clever idea. It's something that I don't actually get to enjoy on the Leica. So now I'm just going to, because we've taken the base plate off, we can now just push the knob on the top in, and we can start to gently pull the film out the canister. So there we can actually see the really cool little mechanics of the light trap with the velvet that prevents any unwanted light getting into the canister. And here on the roll, we've got all of our film, which unfortunately now is useless because I've exposed it to the light. Still smells good, but at the same time this roll had actually gone out of date anyway, so that's why I'm using it for the video. So let's just unroll all of that film. If you develop pictures yourself, you'll know what this feels like when you're actually doing it in your black bag. And just down there, we've got it clipped onto the spool. So it is actually clipped in there. It's not actually glued or anything like that. We can just pull it out, and this generally breaks it, but if you're careful, you can unclip it, because you can actually use one of these guys. That is a bulk film loader. So a lot of pros back in the day would actually bulk load their own film. So they would buy like a massive roll of this stuff from Kodak, Fuji, Ilford, whoever, and they could bulk load, say, a 12, 24 or a 36 roll of film, or sometimes more if they wanted to. But here's an interesting tidbit. Originally, when rolls of film came out, they were, say, 6 shots. And 6 would generally be good, or they were 12 out of the 12, maybe 6 could be good. And then we moved on to a 24 roll of film. And then in the early 90s, we moved on to 36 rolls of film being the standard. But why was 36 always the maximum that you could get in there? Even when you can definitely fit a lot more than 36 frames in one roll, in one canister. Why was that the case? Well, the story goes that the guy who invented 35mm film photography for the masses in film canisters like this, Oscar Barnack of Leica, could only stretch his arms out so far, and he decided, well, if this is the maximum amount that I can stretch out my arms, this is the amount of film that I'm going to be able to put into a canister easily. And that is sort of how that's sort of how it came about, apparently. I don't know exactly how true that is. Maybe some people could comment and give me and provide us all with a bit more insight. But there you go, guys. That's what's inside one of these magical little beauties, which are still in use today and still record brilliant images. I'm definitely a believer in the rule that, hey, when film first, when photography first started coming out and you had, say, one shot on a glass plate, that one shot would generally be good because of the cost of it. And then when the early rolls of film with 6 shots came out, those 6 would be good because of the cost of it. And then when 24 and 36 came out, yeah, still 6 would be good, the rest would be fairly rubbish. But now when we've got memory cards that can record maybe 2,000, 4,000 or more shots, I still say with a lot of amateur photographers, and maybe myself included, maybe only 6 of those 2,000 or 4,000 are actually good. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed this little insight. Look forward to your comments, let me know what you think. Have a great day, guys.